Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let yourself sink into this moment. The world around you is fading away, and there's only this. The gentle darkness behind your eyelids, the soft rhythm of your breathing, and the story that's about to unfold. Picture this, it's 3 in the morning. The world is asleep, but you are awake, and you're driving. The road stretches endlessly before you, bathed in the soft silver glow of moonlight. There are no other cars, no distractions, no urgency. Just you and the machine beneath you, and the infinite possibility of the horizon that never quite arrives. Feel the leather seat cradling your body, worn soft by countless journeys, shaped perfectly to welcome you home. Your hands rest gently on the steering wheel, and you can feel the subtle vibration of the engine traveling through the metal, through the leather, into your palms, into your very soul. It's a heartbeat, steady and sure, a mechanical pulse that somehow feels more alive than anything else in this sleeping world. The engine purrs behind you, not loud, never loud, but present, always present. It's the sound of precision, of German engineering distilled into its purest form. Each revolution of the crankshaft is perfectly timed, each combustion chamber firing in harmony with the next, creating this symphony of controlled power that wraps around you like a lullaby. The sound doesn't intrude upon the silence of the night. Instead, it becomes part of it, part of the rhythm of your breathing, part of the rhythm of your heart. The headlights carve through the darkness ahead, 2 perfect circles of light that reveal the road in gentle increments. The asphalt is smooth beneath the tires, and you can feel every subtle change in texture, every gentle curve, every slight rise and fall of the earth beneath you. The car moves as if it's reading your thoughts, responding to the gentlest pressure of your foot on the accelerator, the slightest turn of the steering wheel. You are not driving the car. You and the car are moving together as one entity through this peaceful world. The night air is cool, and you can feel it flowing through the cabin, carrying with it the scent of distant rain and sleeping forests. Somewhere in the distance, stars twinkle like scattered diamonds against the deep velvet of the sky. The moon hangs low on the horizon, painting everything in soft silver tones that make the world look like a dream, like a memory of a dream you once had. This is more than driving. This is meditation in motion. This is the feeling of being exactly where you belong, doing exactly what you were meant to do. The road curves gently to the left, and you follow it with fluid grace, the car responding as naturally as your own body would. There's no destination, no schedule, no purpose other than this perfect moment of being alive, being present, being connected to something greater than yourself. The dashboard glows softly in the darkness, each instrument precisely placed, each curve and line designed not just for function, but for beauty. The speedometer needle rests at a comfortable pace, neither hurried nor hesitant. The tachometer shows the engine's steady rhythm, the mechanical heartbeat that has become your heartbeat. Everything is in its proper place. Everything is exactly as it should be. And in this moment, as you glide through the sleeping world, you begin to understand something profound. This feeling, this perfect harmony between human and machine, between intention and motion, between dream and reality. This didn't happen by accident. This moment has been decades in the making, crafted by the hands and hearts and minds of dreamers who understood that a car could be more than transportation. It could be poetry. It could be art. It could be a gateway to the sublime. The story of how this moment came to be begins long ago, in a time when cars were still a dream, when the very idea of horseless carriages seemed like magic. It begins with a boy born in a small village who looked at the world differently than everyone else around him. A boy who would grow up to create not just cars, but dreams made manifest. A boy whose name would become synonymous with perfection, with precision, with a marriage of engineering and soul. Welcome to Porsche. Welcome to a dream in motion. In the year 1875, in a small village called Maffersdorf in what was then part of the Austrian Empire, a child was born who would change the world. But Ferdinand Porsche entered the world quietly, as all the greatest dreamers do, without fanfare or prophecy, just the simple miracle of a new life beginning on September 3rd, under the watchful eyes of parents who could never have imagined what their son would become. Anton Porsche was a tinsmith, a man who worked with his hands, shaping metal into useful things. His wife, Anna, kept the household running with the quiet efficiency that would later echo in her son's designs. They were simple people, hard-working and practical, living in a world where horses still pulled carriages and the night was lit by candles and oil lamps. The idea of a horseless carriage was still the stuff of science fiction, a fantasy that belonged in the pages of Jules Verne novels rather than in the workshops of small Austrian villages. But Ferdinand was different from the very beginning. While other children played with wooden toys and helped their parents with household chores, young Ferdinand was drawn to anything mechanical, anything that moved or sparked or hummed with electrical energy. His father's workshop became his playground, and the sounds of hammering metal and soldering joints became his lullaby. He would spend hours watching his father work, absorbing the careful precision required to shape raw metal into something useful, something beautiful. The boy was quiet, introspective, more comfortable with machines than with people. He had the kind of mind that saw patterns where others saw chaos, that understood the hidden logic of mechanical systems with an intuition that seemed almost mystical. While his classmates struggled with their lessons, Ferdinand was already thinking beyond the classroom, beyond the village, beyond the limitations that others accepted as natural law. At the age of 15, Ferdinand made his first great leap into the future. Working in secret in his father's workshop, using whatever materials he could find, he installed electric lighting in his family's home. This was 1890, remember, when most of the world still lived by candlelight and gas lamps. The sight of electric bulbs glowing in the Porsche household must have seemed like magic to the neighbors, like a glimpse of a world that wasn't supposed to exist yet. But this was just the beginning. Ferdinand's mind was already racing ahead, already seeing possibilities that others couldn't imagine. He didn't just want to bring light to his home. He wanted to bring motion to the world. He could see, with a clarity that was almost prophetic, that the future would belong to machines, and that those machines would need to move with grace and precision and power. The young man's formal education came at the Imperial Technical School in Reichenberg, but the real learning happened in his mind, in the quiet hours when he would sit and think and dream about what could be. He was already formulating the principles that would guide his entire career, that form and function were not enemies, but partners, that engineering was not just about making things work, but about making them work beautifully, that the greatest machines were those that seemed to have souls. In 1893, at the age of 18, Ferdinand took a job with Bela Egger, an electrical company in Vienna. The city was a revelation to the young man from the provinces. Vienna was alive with innovation, crackling with the energy of the Industrial Revolution, filled with minds that were pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Here, Ferdinand wasn't an oddity for his fascination with electricity and mechanics. He was surrounded by others who shared his vision of a world transformed by technology. But even in this environment of innovation, Ferdinand stood out. His colleagues began to notice that he had an unusual gift for seeing solutions where others saw only problems. He didn't just understand how electrical systems worked. He understood how they could work better. His mind was constantly racing ahead, constantly improving, constantly refining. It was during these years in Vienna that Ferdinand began to develop his most revolutionary idea. The world was already beginning to experiment with horseless carriages, but most of these early automobiles were crude, unreliable things powered by steam or internal combustion engines that were as likely to break down as to run. Ferdinand looked at these early attempts and saw a fundamental flaw in their approach. They were trying to recreate the horse and buggy with different power sources, but they weren't thinking about the deeper possibilities of mechanical motion. What if, Ferdinand wondered, you could put the motor directly in the wheels? What if you could eliminate the complex transmission systems and drivetrains that made early automobiles so unreliable? What if you could create a system where electrical energy was converted directly into rotational motion at the point where it was needed most? The idea consumed him. In his spare time, away from his duties at Egger, Ferdinand began working on his vision. He sketched and calculated and dreamed, pouring all of his passion and precision into the design of what would become known as the wheel hub motor. It was elegant in its simplicity, revolutionary in its implications. Instead of a central engine connected to the wheels through a series of mechanical linkages, each wheel would have its own electric motor, controlled with precision and responding instantly to the driver's intentions. The first prototype was completed in 1897, and when Ferdinand tested it, he knew he had created something special. The response was immediate, the control absolute. There was no lag between intention and action, no complex mechanical systems to introduce delays or inefficiencies. It was as if the machine was reading his mind, responding to his will with the immediacy of thought itself. But Ferdinand was not just an inventor. He was a dreamer who understood that the greatest innovations were worthless if they remained trapped in workshops and laboratories. He needed to find a way to bring his vision to the world, to show others what was possible. The wheel hub motor was more than just a technical achievement. It was a glimpse of the future, a promise of a world where machines and humans could work together in perfect harmony. Little did the young Ferdinand know that his quiet revolution was about to attract the attention of someone who would change his life forever, someone who shared his vision of elegant mechanical solutions to the challenges of motion. The boy from the Austrian village was about to step onto the world stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. The year 1898 arrived like a gentle dawn breaking over the world of mechanical innovation, and Ferdinand Porsche, now 23 years old, found himself standing at the threshold of his destiny. His wheel hub motor had caught the attention of precisely the right person at precisely the right moment, as if the universe itself had conspired to bring together the dreamer and the opportunity that would allow his dreams to flourish. Ludwig Lohner was a name that commanded respect in Vienna's carriage-making circles. His company, Lohner-Werke, had been crafting some of the most beautiful and sophisticated horse-drawn carriages in the Austrian Empire for decades. But Lohner was no mere traditionalist. He was a man who could see the winds of change beginning to blow, and he understood that the future of transportation would not be found in the stables, but in the workshops of electrical engineers. When Lohner first met Ferdinand, he saw something that others had missed. Here was not just a brilliant young engineer, but an artist of mechanical motion, a poet of precision who understood that the greatest innovations were those that seemed to disappear into their own perfection. The wheel hub motor was not just clever, it was elegant, and elegance, Lohner knew, was the hallmark of enduring greatness. The partnership that formed between these two men would produce something unprecedented in the history of transportation. They would create not just a new kind of vehicle, but a new way of thinking about the relationship between power and motion, between human intention and mechanical response. The Lohner-Porsche carriage would be the first hybrid vehicle ever produced, decades before the world would rediscover the wisdom of combining electric and internal combustion power. Picture the workshop where this miracle took shape. The floors were scattered with blueprints and prototypes, the air thick with the scent of machine oil and electrical components. Ferdinand worked with the focused intensity of a monk illuminating a manuscript. Every detail considered and reconsidered, every component refined until it achieved a kind of mechanical poetry. The wheel hub motors were works of art in themselves, their copper windings laid out with mathematical precision, their casings crafted to withstand the stresses of motion while maintaining the elegance of form that Ferdinand insisted upon. The first Lohner-Porsche vehicle emerged from this workshop in 1898 like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. It was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Where other horseless carriages were crude and mechanical, the Lohner-Porsche was graceful and silent. Where others coughed and sputtered with the irregular rhythm of primitive engines, the Lohner-Porsche glided with the smooth precision of electrical power. The sensation was immediate. When Ferdinand took the vehicle for its first public demonstration through the streets of Vienna, crowds gathered to witness this mechanical miracle. The carriage moved without sound, without vibration, without the telltale signs of mechanical struggle that characterized every other horseless vehicle of the era. It was as if Ferdinand had somehow captured the essence of motion itself and given it physical form. But Ferdinand's mind was already racing ahead to the next challenge. Electric power was elegant, but it had limitations. The batteries of the 1890s were heavy and limited in their range, and Ferdinand could see that these limitations would eventually constrain the freedom that he believed mechanical transportation should provide. The solution came to him with the clarity of inspiration. What if you could combine the elegance of electric power with the endurance of internal combustion? The hybrid Lohner-Porsche that emerged from this insight was even more remarkable than its purely electric predecessor. Ferdinand had designed a system where a small, efficient gasoline engine would charge the batteries that powered the wheel hub motors. The result was a vehicle that could travel far greater distances than any purely electric car, while maintaining the smooth, silent operation that made electric power so appealing. The technical challenges were immense, but Ferdinand approached each one with the methodical passion that would characterize his entire career. The engine had to be perfectly balanced to avoid vibration. The charging system had to be precisely calibrated to maintain optimal battery performance. The control systems had to respond instantly to the driver's intentions, translating human will into mechanical motion with no perceptible delay. But it was not just the technical aspects that occupied Ferdinand's attention. He understood that the greatest machines were those that pleased all the senses, that created an experience rather than merely providing transportation. The interior of the Lohner-Porsche was crafted with the same attention to detail as the mechanical systems. The seats were upholstered in the finest leather, shaped to provide comfort during long journeys. The dashboard was laid out with mathematical precision. Every gauge and control placed exactly where the human hand and eye would naturally expect to find it. The success of the Lohner-Porsche was immediate and undeniable. Orders poured in from wealthy customers throughout Europe who recognized that they were purchasing not just a vehicle, but a glimpse of the future. Ferdinand found himself traveling across the continent, demonstrating his creation to amazed audiences who had never imagined that mechanical transportation could be so refined, so civilized, so perfectly suited to human needs and desires. In 1900, the Lohner-Porsche achieved its greatest triumph when it was selected as the official vehicle for the Paris World Exhibition. The irony was delicious. A hybrid vehicle created by an Austrian engineer was chosen to represent the future of transportation at the most important international exposition of a new century. Ferdinand personally drove the vehicle through the streets of Paris, and the response was electric. The French press called it a miracle of modern engineering, and orders from around the world began flooding in. But even in the midst of this success, Ferdinand's restless mind was already moving on to new challenges. The Lohner-Porsche had proven that his vision was correct, that mechanical transportation could be elegant and efficient and perfectly suited to human needs. But Ferdinand could see even greater possibilities on the horizon. The internal combustion engine was improving rapidly. and Ferdinand began to wonder what would be possible if he could apply his principles of precision and elegance to this more powerful form of mechanical motion. The partnership with Lohner had been productive and profitable, but Ferdinand was beginning to feel the constraints of working within someone else's vision. He was an artist, and like all true artists, he needed the freedom to pursue his inspiration wherever it might lead. The time was approaching when Ferdinand would need to step out on his own to create something that was purely his own vision of what mechanical perfection could be. But first, there would be a detour, a period of learning and growing that would take Ferdinand into the world of established automotive manufacturers. He would learn the business of making cars, not just designing them. He would discover the challenges of mass production, the complexities of marketing and distribution, the delicate balance between innovation and commercial viability. These lessons would prove invaluable when the time came for Ferdinand to create his own automotive empire. Little did he know that this next chapter of his journey would take him to the heart of the German automotive industry, where he would work alongside some of the greatest names in automotive history, where he would help create vehicles that would establish new standards for performance and luxury, and where he would begin to develop the philosophy of automotive excellence that would eventually bear his name. The soft rumble of distant thunder rolls across the landscape of Ferdinand's life as we enter the year 1906. He is 31 years old now, no longer the eager young engineer with electric dreams, but a man whose reputation precedes him through the corridors of Europe's most prestigious automotive companies. The Lohner-Porsche has made him famous, but fame, Ferdinand is learning, is both a blessing and a burden. It opens doors, but it also creates expectations that can become their own kind of prison. The call comes from Stuttgart, from the Daimler company, where they're seeking someone with Ferdinand's unique combination of electrical expertise and automotive vision. The company is struggling to compete with the rapidly advancing German manufacturers, and they need someone who can bring innovation and excellence to their engineering department. For Ferdinand, it represents an opportunity to work on a larger scale, to apply his principles of precision and elegance to the challenges of mass production. The move to Austria-Hungary's automotive capital is both exciting and daunting. Stuttgart is alive with mechanical innovation, filled with workshops where the future is being hammered into shape by skilled craftsmen who understand that they are participating in something revolutionary. The air itself seems to hum with the energy of internal combustion engines, with the sounds of metal being shaped into forms that will carry humanity into the 20th century. At Daimler, Ferdinand throws himself into the work with characteristic intensity. His first major project is the redesign of the company's touring cars, vehicles that must balance performance with comfort, speed with reliability. Ferdinand approaches the challenge with the methodical passion that has become his signature, examining every component, questioning every assumption, refusing to accept that anything must be done simply because it has always been done that way. The results are immediate and dramatic. Ferdinand's cars are faster, more reliable, more comfortable than anything Daimler has produced before. But more than that, they possess a quality that is difficult to define but impossible to ignore, a sense of rightness, of perfect harmony between all the various systems that make up the whole. Driving one of Ferdinand's cars is not just transportation. It is an experience, a conversation between human intention and mechanical response that feels more like dance than mere locomotion. Success brings new challenges. Ferdinand finds himself caught between his artistic vision and the commercial realities of automotive manufacturing. The company wants more cars, produced more quickly, sold at competitive prices. But Ferdinand's nature rebels against anything that compromises quality for the sake of quantity. Every car that leaves the factory must meet his exacting standards, must embody his vision of what mechanical perfection should be. The tension comes to a head over a seemingly minor detail, the sound that the car doors make when they close. Ferdinand insists that each door must close with a precise, solid thunk that communicates quality and attention to detail. The production managers argue that such refinements are expensive and unnecessary, that customers will never notice such subtle details. Ferdinand's response is characteristic. If we do not notice the details, why should our customers trust us with the important things? This philosophy of absolute attention to detail becomes Ferdinand's trademark. His cars are not just well-engineered. They are perfectly engineered. Every component is precisely where it should be, every system optimized for both performance and longevity. The fit and finish of Ferdinand's vehicles sets new standards for the industry, standards that other manufacturers struggle to match. But Ferdinand's greatest triumph at Austro-Daimler comes in 1910 with the creation of the Prince Henry car, named after Prince Henry of Prussia and designed specifically for the challenging Prince Henry trial, a demanding automotive competition that tests both the performance and reliability of participating vehicles. This is Ferdinand's opportunity to create something special, a vehicle that embodies all of his principles of engineering excellence while proving itself under the most demanding conditions imaginable. The Prince Henry car is a revelation. It combines the power and reliability of a well-designed internal combustion engine with the precision and elegance that Ferdinand has made his signature. The vehicle is not just fast. It is controllable at speed, responsive to the driver's intentions, comfortable during long-distance driving. It represents a new synthesis of performance and refinement that establishes a template for sporting automobiles that will endure for decades. The success of the Prince Henry car in competition is total and undeniable. Ferdinand's vehicles dominate the trials, winning not just on speed but on reliability, efficiency, and overall excellence. The automotive press takes notice, and Ferdinand's reputation as one of Europe's leading automotive engineers is firmly established. Orders pour in from wealthy customers who recognize that they are purchasing something special, something that represents the very best of what automotive engineering can achieve. But even in the midst of this success, Ferdinand feels the stirrings of restlessness. Working for Austro-Daimler has taught him valuable lessons about the business of automotive manufacturing, but it has also shown him the limitations of working within someone else's vision. He is an artist, and like all true artists, he needs the freedom to pursue his inspiration without compromise. The decision to leave Austro-Daimler is difficult but inevitable. Ferdinand has learned what he came to learn, has proven what he needed to prove. Now, it is time to take the next step, to find a place where his vision can be fully realized without the constraints of corporate politics and commercial compromise. The opportunity comes from an unexpected source, Daimler Motorgesellschaft in Stuttgart, the German company that will eventually become part of Mercedes-Benz. They are looking for a chief engineer, someone who can bring innovation and excellence to their already impressive lineup of luxury automobiles. For Ferdinand, it represents a chance to work at the very highest levels of automotive engineering, to help create vehicles that will set new standards for the entire industry. The move to Stuttgart in 1923 marks the beginning of what will be Ferdinand's most productive and influential period as an automotive engineer. At Daimler, he will have access to virtually unlimited resources, the most skilled craftsmen in the industry, and the freedom to pursue engineering excellence without compromise. It is here that Ferdinand will create some of the most significant automobiles of the pre-war era, vehicles that will establish new benchmarks for performance, luxury, and engineering sophistication. But Ferdinand doesn't know, as he settles into his new office in Stuttgart, that he is about to enter the most challenging period of his career. The 1920s will bring economic turmoil, political upheaval, and rapid technological change. Ferdinand will be forced to navigate not just the technical challenges of automotive engineering, but the complex political and economic forces that are reshaping Europe. The decisions he makes during this period will have consequences that extend far beyond the automotive world. Consequences that will shape not just his own destiny, but the destiny of the company that will eventually bear his name. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with both tremendous opportunities and dangerous pitfalls. But Ferdinand approaches the future with the same methodical passion that has characterized his entire career, secure in his belief that excellence in engineering is not just a professional goal, but a moral imperative. In a world that is increasingly driven by compromise and expedience, Ferdinand remains committed to the idea that some things, precision, elegance, attention to detail, are worth pursuing for their own sake. The year is 1931, and the world teeters on the edge of economic collapse. The Great Depression has spread its shadow across continents, closing factories, destroying fortunes, and shattering the comfortable certainties of the industrial age. In this climate of uncertainty and fear, most sensible men would hunker down, preserve what they have, wait for better times. But Ferdinand Porsche has never been a sensible man in the conventional sense. He is 56 years old, and he has spent his entire career working for other people, building other people's dreams, making other people's visions real. Now, in the darkest economic period in modern history, Ferdinand makes a decision that will change everything. He will strike out on his own. The office at Kronenstrasse 24 in Stuttgart is modest, almost Spartan in its simplicity. A handful of rooms, a few drafting tables, some basic engineering equipment. From the outside, it looks like any number of small engineering consultancies that have sprung up in the economic chaos of the early 1930s. But inside these unremarkable rooms, something extraordinary is taking shape. Ferdinand has gathered around him a small team of the most talented automotive engineers in Germany, men who share his vision of mechanical perfection, who understand that the greatest automotive achievements come not from following the crowd, but from having the courage to imagine something entirely new. Dr. ING, HCF, Porsche GmbH. The name appears on the door in simple black letters. It is a statement of identity, of independence, of the belief that Ferdinand's vision deserves to stand on its own. The HC stands for Honoris Causa, referring to the honorary doctorate that Ferdinand has received for his contributions to automotive engineering. But the title, while impressive, tells only part of the story. What matters more is what happens inside those modest rooms, where Ferdinand and his team begin to tackle the most challenging automotive problems of their era. The first projects are necessarily small, consulting work for established manufacturers who need Ferdinand's expertise to solve specific technical problems. But even in these minor projects, Ferdinand's influence is transformative. He brings to each challenge the same methodical passion that has characterized his entire career, the same insistence on excellence, the same refusal to accept that anything must be compromised simply because it has always been done that way. But Ferdinand's real ambition lies elsewhere. He wants to create something that has never existed before, a car that combines advanced engineering with affordability, a vehicle that brings the precision and reliability of luxury automobiles to ordinary people. It is an audacious goal, one that most automotive engineers consider impossible. How can you maintain the standards of excellence that Ferdinand demands while keeping costs low enough for mass production? The answer, when it comes, is characteristically elegant. Instead of compromising on quality, Ferdinand will innovate in design. He will create new manufacturing techniques, new approaches to engineering that make excellence more efficient rather than more expensive. The key insight is that precision and simplicity are not enemies, but allies, that the most elegant solutions are often the most economical ones. The project that will test this philosophy arrives in 1934, when the German government announces its intention to create a people's car, a vehicle that every German family can afford. It is an ambitious social engineering project, as much about politics as about automotive design. But for Ferdinand, it represents the opportunity he has been waiting for his entire career, the chance to prove that his vision of automotive excellence can be democratized, that precision and reliability need not be the exclusive province of the wealthy. The technical challenges are immense. The car must be simple enough for mass production, reliable enough to serve as everyday transportation, economical enough to purchase and operate, yet still embody the engineering principles that Ferdinand considers non-negotiable. It is a puzzle that would daunt most engineers, but Ferdinand approaches it with the calm confidence of a master craftsman who has spent decades perfecting his art. The solution that emerges is revolutionary in its simplicity. Ferdinand designs an air-cooled, rear-mounted engine that eliminates the complexity and weight of traditional cooling systems. The body is designed using new manufacturing techniques that reduce both cost and weight while maintaining structural integrity. Every component is carefully considered, every system optimized for both performance and economy. The result is a car that meets all of the seemingly contradictory requirements of the project while maintaining the integrity of Ferdinand's engineering vision. But the People's Car Project is only one part of Ferdinand's expanding empire. In 1934, Auto Union approaches Ferdinand with an even more ambitious challenge: to create a Grand Prix racing car that can compete with the dominant Mercedes and Alfa Romeo teams. It is an opportunity to explore the outer limits of automotive performance, to push the boundaries of what is technically possible without the constraints of mass production or commercial viability. Ferdinand's approach to the Grand Prix project is characteristically innovative. Instead of trying to match his competitors' power with conventional front-engine designs, Ferdinand places the engine behind the driver, creating a mid-engine configuration that revolutionizes the balance and handling characteristics of racing cars. The Auto Union cars that emerge from Ferdinand's workshop are unlike anything that has ever appeared on a racing circuit. Alien in their appearance, but devastatingly effective in their performance. The success of the Auto Union cars is immediate and dramatic. They dominate Grand Prix racing throughout the mid-1930s, winning race after race with a combination of innovative design and meticulous preparation that leaves their competitors struggling to understand what has happened. Ferdinand's drivers, men like Bernd Rosemeyer and Hans Stuck, become legends, but they are quick to credit the cars themselves, the mechanical perfection that Ferdinand has achieved through his relentless pursuit of excellence. Working in parallel with the racing program, Ferdinand continues to develop the people's car, refining the design through countless iterations, testing every component under every conceivable condition. The prototypes that emerge from his workshop are increasingly sophisticated, increasingly refined, increasingly close to Ferdinand's vision of what a mass-produced automobile should be. By 1938, the design is ready for production, and Ferdinand watches with satisfaction as the first cars roll off the assembly line. But even as Ferdinand celebrates these successes, he is aware that the world around him is changing in ways that will profoundly affect his work. Political tensions are rising across Europe, and the peaceful world of automotive innovation is being overshadowed by the gathering clouds of war. Ferdinand, like many of his contemporaries, hopes that reason will prevail, that the madness of war can be avoided. But he is also a realist, and he understands that the technical skills that create beautiful automobiles can also be applied to more destructive purposes. The transition from peace to war is gradual at first, then suddenly overwhelming. Ferdinand's expertise in automotive engineering makes him valuable to the German war effort, and he finds himself drawn into projects that have nothing to do with the elegant civilian vehicles that have been his passion. It is a period that will test not just Ferdinand's technical skills, but his moral compass, his ability to navigate the complex ethical terrain of wartime service. The workshop at Kronenstrasse 24 continues to hum with activity, but the projects are different now, more urgent, more consequential. Ferdinand applies the same methodical passion to these new challenges that he has always brought to his work, but he is increasingly aware that the world he is helping to create is not the world he intended. The precision and reliability that he has spent his career perfecting are being used for purposes that he never imagined, never desired. As the war progresses, Ferdinand's position becomes increasingly complicated. He is simultaneously one of Germany's most valuable technical resources and a man whose loyalties are suspect to the more ideological elements of the Nazi regime. He is too valuable to discard, too independent to trust completely. It is a dangerous balancing act, one that requires all of Ferdinand's diplomatic skills and strategic thinking to navigate successfully. The year 1939 arrives like a storm cloud gathering over Ferdinand's carefully constructed world. He is 64 years old now, no longer the young dreamer who once installed electric lights in his father's house, but a man whose name has become synonymous with engineering excellence across Europe. His auto union racing cars have dominated Grand Prix circuits, his people's car has begun rolling off production lines, and his small consulting firm has grown into one of Germany's most respected engineering companies. Yet as the political situation in Europe deteriorates, Ferdinand finds himself caught in forces beyond his control, his technical expertise making him both valuable and vulnerable in a world increasingly defined by conflict rather than creation. The transition from the hopeful automotive project of the early 1930s to the grim realities of wartime engineering is gradual, then sudden. Ferdinand's workshop, once filled with the elegant curves of racing car bodies and the precise mechanical poetry of civilian automotive components, begins to echo with different sounds, different purposes. The same hands that once crafted components for record-breaking race cars now shape steel for military vehicles, applying the same standards of precision and reliability, but for purposes that Ferdinand could never have imagined when he first opened his independent engineering office. The German military, recognizing Ferdinand's unique combination of innovative thinking and practical engineering expertise, draws him into increasingly significant projects. His understanding of mechanical systems, his ability to solve complex technical problems under pressure, his reputation for reliability and excellence. All of these qualities make him indispensable to a war effort that demands rapid innovation and absolute dependability. Ferdinand approaches these new challenges with the same methodical passion that has characterized his entire career, but he is increasingly aware that the world he is helping to create is far removed from the elegant automotive dreams that have been his life's work. The most significant of these wartime projects is the development of the WWII tank, a massive armored vehicle that represents both the pinnacle of Ferdinand's engineering capabilities and the dark complexity of his wartime position. The technical challenges are enormous. Creating a vehicle that can withstand enemy fire while maintaining the mobility and reliability necessary for battlefield effectiveness. Ferdinand applies his automotive expertise to these military requirements, designing transmission systems that can handle the enormous weight and power requirements of the Tiger, while maintaining the precision and reliability that have become his trademark. Working on the Tiger project, Ferdinand demonstrates the same attention to detail that has characterized all of his work. Every component is carefully considered, every system optimized for performance and durability. The result is a formidable military vehicle that incorporates many of the engineering principles that Ferdinand has developed over decades of automotive work. But the application of these principles to instruments of war creates an ethical complexity that weighs heavily on Ferdinand's mind, even as he pursues technical excellence with his characteristic determination. The workshop atmosphere during these years is tense, purposeful, filled with the urgent energy of wartime production. Ferdinand's team works long hours, pushing the boundaries of what is technically possible while operating under the immense pressure of military deadlines and specifications. The same engineering minds that once contemplated the elegant curves of racing car aerodynamics now grapple with armor thickness calculations and weapons system integration. It is a testament to Ferdinand's leadership and technical vision that his team maintains its standards of excellence even under these challenging circumstances. But Ferdinand's wartime service extends beyond individual projects to the broader challenge of managing industrial production under increasingly difficult conditions. As the war progresses and Germany's situation becomes more desperate, Ferdinand finds himself responsible for maintaining production schedules and quality standards despite shortages of materials, disruptions to supply chains, and the constant threat of Allied bombing raids. His engineering expertise proves valuable not just in design, but in the complex logistics of wartime production. The moral weight of this period settles over Ferdinand like a heavy blanket. He is not a political man, never has been. His passion has always been for mechanical perfection, for the elegant solution to complex engineering problems. But the world has forced choices upon him that he never wanted to make, has given his technical skills purposes that he never intended. The same precision that once created beautiful racing cars now contributes to the machinery of war, and Ferdinand struggles with the implications of his involvement. As the war reaches its climax and Germany's defeat becomes inevitable, Ferdinand faces perhaps the greatest challenge of his career: how to preserve not just his own future, but the future of the engineering excellence that he has spent his lifetime developing. The political chaos of Germany's collapse threatens to destroy everything he has built, to scatter his team and eliminate the institutional knowledge that has made his work possible. The end comes suddenly. In May of 1945, as Germany surrenders unconditionally, Ferdinand finds himself arrested by Allied forces as part of the broader effort to understand and control German technical capabilities. The charges are complex and politically motivated, but the reality is simple. Ferdinand's expertise in mechanical engineering has made him valuable to the German war effort, and that value now makes him suspect in the eyes of the victorious Allies. The arrest is a shock, a brutal interruption of a life dedicated to technical excellence. Ferdinand, now 70 years old, finds himself imprisoned in France, charged with war crimes that he struggles to understand. He is not a Nazi, has never been motivated by political ideology, but his technical contributions to the German war effort have entangled him in the complex moral accounting that follows every major conflict. The prison years are difficult, isolating, filled with uncertainty about the future. Ferdinand's hands, which have spent decades shaping metal and designing mechanical systems, now have nothing to work with but his own thoughts and memories. But even in confinement, his mind remains active, continuing to work on engineering problems, continuing to refine his understanding of mechanical systems, continuing to dream of the automotive innovations that might be possible in a more peaceful world. The legal proceedings drag on for months. complicated by the political complexities of post-war Europe and the difficulty of assigning individual responsibility for the collective actions of wartime. Ferdinand's case becomes emblematic of the broader challenge facing Allied authorities. How to deal with German technical expertise that was essential to the war effort, but was applied by individuals whose motivations were primarily professional rather than ideological. Finally, in August of 1947, Ferdinand is released from prison, his charges dropped, his technical expertise once again his own to direct. But the world he returns to is dramatically different from the one he left behind. Germany is divided and occupied, its industrial infrastructure destroyed or dismantled, its technical institutions scattered. The automotive industry that Ferdinand helped create has been devastated, and the future of German engineering expertise is uncertain. But Ferdinand is not a man to be defeated by circumstances, no matter how dire. At the age of 72, when most men would be content with retirement and reflection, Ferdinand looks at the devastation around him and sees opportunity. The world needs to be rebuilt, and that rebuilding will require the same engineering excellence that has been Ferdinand's life's work. The skills that created racing cars and people's cars, and even military vehicles, can be redirected toward peaceful purposes, toward the creation of a better, more prosperous world. In the quiet town of Gmund, Austria, nestled in the rolling hills of Carinthia, something extraordinary is taking shape in the most unlikely of circumstances. The year is 1948, and Europe is still struggling to rebuild from the devastation of war. Factories lie in ruins, materials are scarce, and the future of the automotive industry seems uncertain at best. Yet in a small sawmill that has been converted into a makeshift workshop, Ferdinand Porsche's son Ferry is about to create something that will change the course of automotive history forever. Ferry Porsche is 39 years old, and he carries within him both the burden and the blessing of his father's legacy. He has grown up surrounded by automotive excellence, has learned engineering not from textbooks, but from watching his father solve impossible problems with elegant solutions. But Ferry is more than just Ferdinand's son. He is an engineer in his own right, with his own vision of what an automobile should be, his own understanding of the delicate balance between performance and beauty that creates truly great cars. The workshop in Gmund is a far cry from the sophisticated facilities where Ferdinand created his masterpieces. The floors are rough wooden planks, the tools are whatever could be salvaged or improvised. The materials are whatever could be obtained through the complex barter systems that have replaced normal commerce in post-war Europe. But Ferry understands something that his father taught him long ago. Greatness is not about having perfect conditions, but about creating perfection despite imperfect conditions. The project that Ferry has undertaken is both audacious and necessary. He wants to create a sports car, a vehicle that embodies all of the engineering principles that the Porsche name has come to represent. But he wants to do it with virtually no resources, no infrastructure, no established supply chains. It is the kind of challenge that would daunt most engineers. But Ferry approaches it with the calm confidence that comes from a lifetime of watching his father turn impossible dreams into mechanical reality. The design that Ferry develops is revolutionary in its simplicity and elegance. Instead of trying to compete with established manufacturers on their own terms, Ferry creates something entirely new, a lightweight, nimble sports car that emphasizes handling and driver engagement over raw power. The chassis is tubular steel, strong yet light, designed to provide the rigid foundation necessary for precise handling while keeping weight to an absolute minimum. The engine comes from an unexpected source. The Volkswagen Beetle, Ferdinand's pre-war people's car that has been revived in the post-war years. But Ferry doesn't simply transplant the engine unchanged. He carefully modifies and refines it, increasing its power output while maintaining its reliability and efficiency. It is a perfect example of the Porsche philosophy, taking proven components and improving them through careful engineering and attention to detail. The body of the car is shaped by hand, beaten in a form over wooden templates by craftsmen who understand that they're creating not just transportation, but art. The aluminum panels are carefully formed to create the sleek, purposeful lines that Ferry has envisioned, each curve serving both aesthetic and aerodynamic purposes. The result is a car that looks fast even when standing still, that communicates its performance capabilities through the subtle language of its proportions and surfaces. But Ferry's vision extends beyond just the technical aspects of the car. He understands that truly great automobiles create an emotional connection with their drivers, that the most successful cars are those that somehow capture the dreams and aspirations of the people who drive them. The interior of the car is designed with this in mind. Every control precisely placed, every surface carefully finished, every detail contributing to the sense that this is a machine worthy of the driver's complete attention and respect. The first prototype is completed in June of 1948, and when Ferry takes it for its initial test drive through the Austrian countryside, he knows immediately that something special has been created. The car responds to his inputs with an immediacy and precision that exceeds even his optimistic expectations. The steering is direct and communicative. The suspension provides excellent control without sacrificing comfort, and the engine delivers its power with a smooth enthusiasm that makes every journey feel like an adventure. But Ferry's greatest insight is an understanding that this car should not try to be everything to everyone. Instead of creating a vehicle that compromises between different requirements, Ferry has created something that excels at one specific purpose, providing the pure joy of driving. This focus, this clarity of purpose, will become one of the defining characteristics of all future Porsche automobiles. The car is designated as the 356, and when it makes its public debut, the response is immediate and enthusiastic. Automotive journalists praise its handling, its build quality, its distinctive character. More importantly, drivers who experience the car understand intuitively that they are encountering something special, something that represents a new approach to automotive design and engineering. Orders begin to arrive, slowly at first. Then with increasing frequency as word spreads through the small but passionate community of sports car enthusiasts. Each car is essentially hand-built, crafted with the attention to detail that only comes from small-scale production where every component can be individually inspected and approved. The waiting list grows longer, but Ferry refuses to compromise on quality for the sake of increased production volume. The success of the 356 establishes Ferry as a force in his own right, no longer just Ferdinand's son, but a leader with his own vision of automotive excellence. But Ferry understands that this is just the beginning. The 356 has proven that the Porsche approach to engineering can create successful products, but Ferry's ambitions extend far beyond a single model. He envisions a company that will become synonymous with automotive excellence, that will create a family of vehicles united by their commitment to engineering integrity and driving pleasure. The workshop in Gmund gradually expands, new craftsmen are hired, new techniques are developed. But Ferry insists on maintaining the same standards of quality and attention to detail that characterize the first 356. Every car that leaves the workshop must meet the exacting standards that Ferry has established, must embody the engineering principles that the Porsche name represents. As production of the 356 increases, Ferry begins to think about the future. The car has been successful beyond his most optimistic projections, but Ferry can see that even greater things are possible. The automotive world is changing rapidly, New technologies are being developed. New markets are opening up. Ferry wants to be ready to take advantage of these opportunities, to position Porsche as a leader in the rapidly evolving world of high-performance automobiles. But Ferry also understands that success brings its own challenges. As Porsche grows from a small workshop operation to a real manufacturing company, he must find ways to maintain the personal attention to detail and commitment to excellence that have made the 356 successful. It is a delicate balance, one that will require all of Ferry's skill as both an engineer and a leader. The foundation has been laid. The proof of concept has been established. The 356 has shown the world that Porsche represents something special in the automotive world, something that combines technical excellence with emotional appeal in ways that few other manufacturers can match. But Ferry knows that this is just the beginning of the story. The real test will come in the years ahead, as Porsche faces the challenges of growth, competition, and changing market conditions while maintaining the integrity of vision that has made its early success possible. The year 1963 dawns with a sense of anticipation that seems to permeate the very air around the Porsche factory in Stuttgart. Ferry Porsche, now 54 years old, stands at the threshold of perhaps the most important decision in his company's history. The 356, that beautiful genesis of his vision, has served Porsche well for 15 years, establishing the company's reputation and creating a loyal following of enthusiasts who understand that driving a Porsche is different from driving any other car. But Ferry's engineer's mind tells him that the time has come for something new, something that will carry the Porsche philosophy into the future while honoring the principles that his father established decades ago. The challenge is enormous. How do you replace a car that has become iconic, that has established your company's identity in the marketplace, that has created emotional connections with thousands of drivers around the world? How do you maintain the essence of what makes a Porsche special while adapting to the changing demands of the automotive market? Ferry approaches this challenge with the same methodical passion that has characterized his entire career, understanding that the answer lies not in abandoning the past, but in evolving it, in finding the timeless principles that transcend any individual design. The development of what will become the 911 begins not with sketches or clay models, but with philosophy. Ferry and his team spend countless hours discussing what makes a Porsche different from other cars, what creates the emotional connection that Porsche owners feel with their vehicles, what elements of the 350 SIXS character must be preserved, and what can be changed. These discussions take place in conference rooms and workshops, but also during long drives through the German countryside, where the team can experience firsthand the qualities that make Porsche special. The breakthrough comes when Ferry realizes that the key to the 911's success lies in evolution rather than revolution. Instead of creating something entirely new, he will take the basic concept of the 356 rear-mounted engine, lightweight construction, pure driving focus, and refine it to perfection. But this refinement will be so thorough, so complete, that the result will feel entirely new while remaining unmistakably Porsche. The design process is led by Ferdinand Porsche, Ferry's eldest son, who brings to the project a fresh perspective combined with an intuitive understanding of the Porsche aesthetic. Bootsy's sketches capture something that has never been seen before, a car that looks both timeless and futuristic, familiar yet entirely new. The silhouette that emerges from his pencil will become one of the most recognizable shapes in automotive history, a perfect balance of functional efficiency and aesthetic beauty. The technical challenges are immense. Ferry wants the new car to be faster than the 356, more comfortable, more refined, yet still maintain the pure driving character that makes Porsche special. The solution comes through a combination of innovative engineering and meticulous attention to detail. The new six-cylinder engine is a masterpiece of compact efficiency, producing significantly more power than the 350 SIXS four-cylinder while maintaining the reliability and smooth operation that Porsche customers expect. The chassis design represents a quantum leap forward in sophistication. The 911 features independent suspension at all four corners, providing handling precision that surpasses anything Porsche has created before while maintaining the compliance necessary for comfortable daily driving. Every component is carefully considered, every system optimized for both performance and longevity. The result is a car that feels more advanced than anything else on the road, yet retains the mechanical simplicity that makes it reliable and serviceable. But Ferry's greatest insight is an understanding that the 911 must be more than just a faster 356. It must be a car that can grow with its owner, that reveals new facets of its character as the driver's skills and understanding develop. The 911 is designed to be approachable for novice drivers, yet capable of satisfying the most demanding enthusiasts. This breadth of capability, this ability to be many things to many people while maintaining its essential character, will become one of the 911's defining characteristics. The interior of the 911 reflects Ferry's understanding that great cars must appeal to all the senses. The dashboard is a masterpiece of functional beauty, every gauge and control precisely placed for optimal visibility and accessibility. The seats provide excellent support during spirited driving while remaining comfortable during long journeys. The materials are carefully chosen for their durability, their tactile qualities, and their contribution to the overall aesthetic harmony of the interior. The first prototype is completed in the summer of 1963, and when Ferry takes it for its initial test drive, he knows immediately that something extraordinary has been created. The car feels familiar yet entirely new, responsive yet stable, powerful yet manageable. The steering communicates exactly what the front wheels are doing. The engine responds instantly to throttle inputs, and the overall balance of the car inspires confidence even at the limits of performance. The public debut of the 911 at the Frankfurt Motor Show in September 1963 creates a sensation. Automotive journalists struggle to find words to describe what they're experiencing, recognizing that they are witnessing something that will change the sports car landscape forever. The orders begin almost immediately, with customers willing to wait months for the privilege of owning one of these revolutionary new Porsches. But Ferry understands that the real test of the 911 will come not in the controlled environment of auto shows and press events, but on the roads and racetracks where Porsche has built its reputation. The early production cars are subjected to the most demanding testing regimen in Porsche's history, driven hard over thousands of miles to ensure that every system meets the exacting standards that Porsche customers have come to expect. The results exceed even Ferry's optimistic expectations. The 911 proves to be not just fast and reliable, but incredibly versatile. It excels on winding mountain roads, performs admirably on racetracks, and provides comfortable, refined transportation for daily use. This versatility, this ability to be multiple cars in one, establishes the 911 as something entirely new in the automotive world. As production ramps up and the first 911s reach customers, Ferry begins to see the impact of his decision. The car creates an immediate and passionate following, with owners reporting that driving the 911 is unlike anything they have experienced before. The combination of performance, comfort, and distinctive character creates an emotional connection that goes far beyond mere transportation. But Ferry's vision extends beyond just the initial success of the 911. He can see that this car has the potential to become the foundation for an entire family of vehicles, each sharing the basic 911 architecture, but optimized for different purposes. Racing versions, luxury variants, high-performance models, all built around the fundamental excellence of the 911 concept. The 911's design proves to be remarkably adaptable, capable of evolution and refinement while maintaining its essential character. This adaptability will prove to be one of Ferry's greatest insights, allowing the 911 to remain relevant and competitive for decades to come while always remaining unmistakably Porsche. As 1963 draws to a close, Ferry looks at the first production 911s rolling off the assembly line and knows that he has created something special. The car represents the culmination of everything he has learned about automotive engineering and design, the perfect synthesis of performance and practicality, of innovation and tradition, of German engineering excellence and pure driving pleasure. But Ferry also knows that this is just the beginning. The 911 has established a new standard for sports car excellence, but maintaining that standard will require constant evolution, constant improvement, constant attention to the details that make the difference between good cars and great ones. The challenge now is to build on this success, to use the 911 as the foundation for an automotive dynasty that will endure for generations to come. The soft evening light of June 1970 filters through the windows of the Porsche racing workshop, casting long shadows across the gleaming machinery that represents the cutting edge of automotive competition. The air is thick with the scent of racing fuel and tire rubber, the familiar perfume of speed and precision that has become as much a part of the Porsche identity as the distinctive curve of the 911's roofline. Ferry Porsche moves through this mechanical cathedral with the quiet satisfaction of a man watching his deepest beliefs validated by victory after victory on the world's most demanding racetracks. Racing has never been just about winning for Ferry, though winning has certainly been important. Racing has been about proving that the engineering philosophy his father established decades ago, the relentless pursuit of precision, the marriage of performance and reliability, the understanding that excellence is found in the details, can triumph against any competition under the most demanding conditions imaginable. Every race is a laboratory. Every lap a test of the principles that guide Porsche's approach to automotive engineering. The 917 sits in the center of the workshop like a predatory animal at rest, its impossibly low profile and aggressive aerodynamic appendages speaking a language of speed that needs no translation. This is Porsche's ultimate expression of racing ambition, a car designed with no purpose other than to be the fastest thing on any racetrack where it appears. But even in this most extreme application of automotive technology, the fundamental Porsche values remain: attention to detail, mechanical reliability, the understanding that true speed comes not from brute force alone, but from the perfect harmony of all systems working in concert. The development of the 917 has been a journey into the outer limits of what is technically possible with racing car technology. The engine is a masterpiece of lightweight construction and high-output engineering, producing power levels that seemed impossible just a few years ago. The chassis is a marvel of structural engineering, providing the rigidity necessary for precise handling while keeping weight to an absolute minimum. The aerodynamics have been refined through countless hours in wind tunnels and on test tracks, creating downforce levels that allow the car to maintain incredible speeds through corners that would challenge much slower vehicles. But Ferry understands that the 917's true test will come not in the controlled environment of the workshop or test track, but in the crucible of international racing competition, where the slightest weakness in design or preparation can mean the difference between victory and failure. The most demanding of these tests is the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the legendary French endurance race that has become the ultimate proving ground for automotive excellence. Le Mans in 1970 is more than just a race. It is a battle for the soul of sports car racing, a confrontation between different philosophies of automotive engineering and design. Ferrari brings its traditional approach of high-revving engines and exotic materials. Ford arrives with American-style brute force engineering. Porsche comes with something different, a combination of German precision and innovative thinking that represents a new approach to racing car design. The preparation for Le Mans is exhaustive, methodical, reflecting the Porsche approach to any significant challenge. Every component of the 917 is examined, tested, refined. The engines are dyno-tested for hours to ensure they can maintain peak performance under the sustained stress of a 24-hour race. The transmissions are subjected to durability tests that simulate the conditions they will face during the race. The aerodynamics are fine-tuned to provide optimal performance on Le Mans' unique combination of high-speed straights and technical corners. But perhaps most importantly, the team that will race the 917 is prepared with the same attention to detail that characterizes the car itself. The drivers, men like Joe Siffert, Pedro Rodriguez, and Richard Atwood, are not just fast, but intelligent, capable of managing the complex systems of the 917 while maintaining the concentration necessary for racing at the absolute limit for 24 continuous hours. The pit crew rehearses their procedures until they become automatic, until every fuel stop and tire change can be executed with balletic precision under the pressure of competition. When the race begins, the 917 immediately demonstrates its superiority. The car is not just fast in straight-line speed, though is devastatingly quick on Le Mans' long Mulsanne straight. More importantly, it is fast everywhere, through the technical sections where handling precision matters as much as raw power, through the rhythm sections where the driver's confidence in the car's predictability allows for sustained high-speed running. As the hours pass and the field is gradually reduced by mechanical failures and accidents, the 917 continues to circulate with metronomic consistency. This reliability is not accidental. It is the direct result of the engineering philosophy that Ferry has inherited from his father and refined through decades of experience. Every component has been designed not just to perform at its peak, but to continue performing under the most demanding conditions imaginable. The victory, when it comes, is total and decisive. The Porsche 917 not only wins Le Mans, but dominates the race, finishing with a margin that leaves no doubt about its superiority. But for Ferry, the victory represents something more than just a racing triumph. It validates the entire Porsche approach to automotive engineering, proves that the principles his father established in the early days of the company can triumph at the highest levels of international competition. The success of the 917 at Le Mans opens the floodgates for Porsche's racing ambitions. The car goes on to dominate sports car racing throughout the early 1970s, winning race after race with a consistency that speaks to the fundamental soundness of its design and the skill of the team that prepares and races it. Each victory adds to the growing legend of Porsche engineering excellence, creating a reputation for performance and reliability that will benefit the company's road cars for decades to come. But Ferry understands that racing success is not an end in itself. The real value of Porsche's racing program lies in the technology and knowledge that flows from the racetrack back to the road cars that form the foundation of the company's business. The lessons learned in developing the 917's engine find their way into more powerful versions of the 911. The aerodynamic insights gained from racing are applied to improving the high-speed stability of production cars. The materials and manufacturing techniques developed for racing applications eventually appear in road cars, bringing racing-derived technology to Porsche customers around the world. The 1970s see Porsche establish itself as the dominant force in sports car racing, with victories in virtually every major international race. The 917 is followed by the 936, another masterpiece of racing engineering that continues Porsche's winning tradition at Le Mans and other major events. Each new racing car represents an evolution of the Porsche philosophy, a refinement of the principles that have made the company successful. But perhaps more importantly, these racing victories create an emotional connection between Porsche and its customers that goes far beyond the rational considerations of performance and reliability. Porsche owners know that they are driving cars that share DNA with Le Mans winners, that the same engineering philosophy that creates championship-winning race cars also guides the development of the cars they drive on public roads. This connection creates a loyalty and passion that no amount of advertising could achieve. As the decade progresses, Ferry begins to see the broader implications of Porsche's racing success. The company has established itself not just as a manufacturer of excellent sports cars, but as a symbol of automotive excellence, a brand that represents the very highest standards of engineering and performance. This reputation opens doors to new markets, new opportunities, new possibilities for growth and expansion. But with success comes new challenges. As Porsche grows from a small, specialized manufacturer to a significant force in the international automotive market, Ferry must find ways to maintain the engineering excellence and attention to detail that have made the company successful. The racing program plays a crucial role in this effort, serving as a constant reminder of the standards that Porsche must maintain, the levels of excellence that customers expect from every car that bears the Porsche name. The track falls silent as the race ends, but the lessons learned here will echo through Porsche's halls for decades to come. The thunder of racing engines may fade, but the pursuit of perfection continues, as relentless and precise as the cars that have made Porsche legendary on racetracks around the world. The year 1992 arrives with a weight of uncertainty hanging over the Porsche headquarters in Stuttgart like a persistent fog that refuses to lift. The company that has built its reputation on engineering excellence and racing success finds itself facing perhaps the greatest crisis in its history. Sales have plummeted. The global recession has devastated the luxury car market, and Porsche's traditional customers are increasingly turning to other brands that offer similar performance with more modern amenities and broader appeal. Ferry Porsche, now 83 years old, watches the unfolding crisis with the analytical mind that has guided him through decades of challenges. But this is different from anything he has faced before. Previous obstacles were primarily technical: how to make cars faster, more reliable, more appealing to drivers. This crisis is existential, threatening the very survival of the company that has been his life's work. The 911, that masterpiece of automotive engineering that has been Porsche's foundation for nearly 30 years, is showing its age in a market that increasingly values luxury and convenience over pure driving pleasure. The financial numbers are stark and undeniable. Porsche's annual sales have dropped from over 50,000 units in the late 1980s to barely 14,000 cars in 1993. The company is hemorrhaging money, burning through cash reserves that once seemed inexhaustible. Industry analysts openly question whether Porsche can survive as an independent company, suggesting that the small German manufacturer should seek a merger with a larger automotive group or face the possibility of bankruptcy. But Ferry has not spent his entire career building Porsche only to surrender in the face of adversity. Working with his management team, he begins to develop a strategy for survival that will require the company to venture into uncharted territory while maintaining the engineering principles that have always defined the Porsche brand. The solution, when it emerges, is both audacious and logical. Porsche will create a new sports car that captures the essence of the brand while appealing to a broader range of customers. The project that will become the Boxster begins not with marketing research or focus groups, but with a return to the fundamental principles that Ferdinand Porsche established decades ago. The new car must be lightweight, nimble, focused on the pure pleasure of driving. But it must also be practical enough for daily use, reliable enough for customers who expect modern standards of dependability, and affordable enough to attract buyers who might otherwise choose competing brands. The design process is led by Harm Legay, whose vision for the Boxster represents a perfect synthesis of Porsche tradition and contemporary automotive design. The car's silhouette clearly identifies it as a Porsche, with the familiar curves and proportions that have defined the brand's aesthetic since the 356. But the details are entirely modern, incorporating the latest advances in aerodynamics, safety, and manufacturing efficiency. The technical challenge is enormous. How do you create a car that maintains Porsche's reputation for engineering excellence while keeping costs low enough to make it accessible to a broader market? The solution comes through a combination of innovative design and careful engineering, using new manufacturing techniques and materials to create a car that feels expensive while being relatively affordable to produce. The Boxster's mid-engine layout is a departure from Porsche tradition, but it serves multiple purposes. The configuration provides optimal weight distribution for handling, creates space for practical storage both front and rear, and allows for efficient packaging of all the car's systems. The engine itself is a new design, smaller and more efficient than traditional Porsche power plants, but still capable of delivering the performance that customers expect from a brand. Perhaps most importantly, the Boxster is designed from the beginning as a convertible, recognizing that open-air driving represents one of the purest expressions of the sports car experience. The folding soft top is engineered to operate smoothly and quietly, providing weather protection when needed while allowing drivers to experience the sensory richness of driving without barriers between themselves and the environment. The development process is intense, compressed into a time frame that would normally be considered impossible for a completely new vehicle. But the team working on the Boxster understands that they are not just creating a new car, they are potentially saving the company. Every decision is scrutinized, every detail optimized for both performance and cost-effectiveness. The result is a car that embodies the Porsche philosophy while representing a new chapter in the company's evolution. When the Boxster makes its debut at the 1993 Detroit Auto Show, the response is immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Automotive journalists praised the car's return to Porsche's sports car roots, its focus on driving pleasure over pure luxury, its combination of performance and practicality. But more importantly, customers respond with enthusiasm, placing orders at a rate that surprises even Porsche's optimistic projections. The success of the Boxster is not just about sales numbers, though those are certainly impressive. The car succeeds in redefining what a Porsche can be, proving that the company's engineering philosophy can be applied to create vehicles that appeal to a broader audience without compromising the qualities that make Porsche special. The Boxster attracts new customers to the brand while satisfying the expectations of traditional Porsche enthusiasts. But Ferry understands that the Boxster's success represents just the beginning of Porsche's renaissance. The car has bought the company time and financial stability, but sustaining that success will require continued innovation and evolution. The Boxster must be followed by other new models, each built on the same foundation of engineering excellence while appealing to different market segments. The late 1990s see Porsche embark on an ambitious expansion program, using the Boxster's success as a springboard for broader growth. The 911 is completely redesigned, incorporating lessons learned from the Boxster's development while maintaining its distinctive character. New variants and special editions expand the appeal of both model lines, creating options for customers with different needs and preferences. More importantly, the Boxster's success validates Ferry's belief that Porsche's future lies not in abandoning its heritage, but in evolving it, in finding new ways to express the company's fundamental values while adapting to changing market conditions. The car proves that there is still a market for vehicles that prioritize driving pleasure over comfort and convenience, that customers will pay a premium for the kind of engineering excellence that Porsche represents. As the millennium approaches, Ferry can look back on the Boxster project with satisfaction, knowing that it has secured Porsche's future while maintaining the integrity of the brand. The company that once teetered on the edge of extinction has not only survived but thrived, emerging stronger and more confident than ever. The crisis has forced Porsche to examine its fundamental assumptions about its products and markets, leading to innovations and insights that will benefit the company for decades to come. The Boxster continues to evolve, incorporating new technologies and refinements while maintaining its essential character. Each new generation builds on the success of its predecessors while adapting to contemporary requirements and expectations. The car has become not just a successful product, but a symbol of Porsche's ability to reinvent itself while staying true to its core values. But Ferry knows that the automotive industry never stands still, that new challenges and opportunities are always on the horizon. The success of the Boxster has given Porsche the foundation it needs to face the future with confidence. But that future will require continued innovation, continued excellence, continued commitment to the principles that have always defined the Porsche brand. The Renaissance is complete, but the story is far from over. The dawn of a new millennium brings with it possibilities that would have seemed impossible just a few years earlier. Porsche, once teetering on the edge of extinction, now stands as a renewed force in the automotive world, financially stable and creatively confident. But as the calendar turns to 2002, the company faces a decision that will test everything it believes about itself, everything it stands for, everything that makes a Porsche. The decision is audacious, controversial, and potentially transformative. Porsche will build an SUV. The boardroom discussions are intense, sometimes heated, filled with the passionate arguments that can only occur when people care deeply about preserving something precious. Traditional Porsche enthusiasts are horrified at the prospect of their beloved sports car company venturing into the world of sport utility vehicles. How can a company build on the principles of lightweight, nimble handling create a vehicle that is by definition heavy and tall? How can Porsche maintain its reputation for driving purity while building a vehicle designed primarily for utility rather than pleasure? Dr. Wendelin Wiedeking, Porsche's CEO, approaches these concerns with the analytical mind of an engineer and the strategic vision of a leader who understands that companies must evolve or die. He recognizes that the SUV market represents not just a commercial opportunity, but a necessity for Porsche's long-term survival. The company needs additional revenue streams to fund continued development of its sports cars, and the growing SUV market offers the potential for sales volumes that could transform Porsche's financial position. But Wiedeking also understands that any Porsche SUV must be genuinely Porsche in character, not simply a conventional utility vehicle with Porsche badges attached. The project that will become the Cayenne is approached with the same methodical passion that has characterized every significant Porsche development. The same insistence on excellence that has defined the company since Ferdinand Porsche first established his engineering consultancy in 1931. The development process is exhaustive, comprehensive, unlike anything Porsche has undertaken before. The company partners with Volkswagen to share development costs and technical expertise, but the Porsche team insists on maintaining complete control over the aspects of the vehicle that will define its character. The chassis tuning, the engine calibration, the interior design, the overall driving dynamics. These elements must be unmistakably Porsche, regardless of any shared components or platforms. The engineering challenges are immense. How do you create an SUV that can tow a boat trailer, yet still provide the kind of precise handling that Porsche customers expect? How do you balance the high seating position that SUV buyers want with the low center of gravity that enables sports car-like dynamics? How do you package a vehicle that can seat 5 adults comfortably while maintaining the structural rigidity necessary for genuine high-performance driving? The solutions that emerge are characteristically innovative. The Cayenne features air suspension that can automatically adjust ride height based on driving conditions, lowering the vehicle for high-speed stability while raising it for off-road capability. The chassis is engineered to provide genuine sports car handling despite the vehicle's size and weight. With sophisticated suspension geometry and precise steering calibration that allows the Cayenne to change direction with an agility that seems to defy physics. But perhaps the most important aspect of the Cayenne's development is the attention paid to making it feel like a Porsche from behind the wheel. The driving position is carefully optimized, the controls are precisely placed, the instrument panel is designed to provide the kind of clear, comprehensive information that performance-oriented drivers expect. The engine note is tuned to provide the distinctive Porsche sound, modified for the SUV application, but still unmistakably related to the engines that power the 911 and Boxster. The interior reflects Porsche's understanding that luxury and performance are not mutually exclusive. The seats provide excellent support for spirited driving while offering the comfort necessary for long-distance travel. The materials are carefully selected for their durability, their tactile qualities, and their contribution to the overall sense of quality that Porsche customers expect. Every surface, every control, every detail is designed to communicate that this is not just an SUV, but a Porsche SUV. When the Cayenne makes its public debut, the reaction is explosive. Traditional Porsche enthusiasts are divided, some embracing the company's bold expansion into new territory, others feeling that the brand has somehow been compromised by association with a vehicle type they consider antithetical to Porsche's heritage. Automotive journalists are initially skeptical, wondering whether Porsche has the expertise to create a competitive SUV, whether the company's sports car focus translates to this entirely different type of vehicle. But the skepticism evaporates as soon as people actually drive the Cayenne. The vehicle delivers performance that redefines what an SUV can be, handling that seems impossible for something so large and tall, a combination of capability and refinement that establishes new standards for the luxury SUV market. The Cayenne can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour faster than many sports cars. It can also tow 7,700 pounds and navigate challenging off-road terrain with confidence and composure. The commercial success is immediate and overwhelming. Orders pour in from customers around the world who recognize that Porsche has created something unprecedented, an SUV that provides genuine high-performance driving pleasure while maintaining all the utility that makes SUVs attractive to families and active lifestyle enthusiasts. The Cayenne attracts new customers to the Porsche brand, people who might never have considered a traditional sports car, but are drawn to the idea of Porsche engineering applied to a practical family vehicle. More importantly, the Cayenne's success validates Weideking's strategic vision. The additional revenue from SUV sales provides the financial foundation that allows Porsche to continue developing and refining its sports cars without compromise. The 911 benefits from technologies developed for the Cayenne, and the Boxster continues to evolve with the confidence that comes from financial stability. The SUV project, initially viewed as a departure from Porsche's core mission, actually enables the company to pursue that mission with greater resources and confidence. The years following the Cayenne's introduction see Porsche expand its SUV lineup, adding new variants and capabilities while maintaining the performance focus that distinguishes Porsche SUVs from their competitors. The Macan, a smaller SUV introduced in 2014, applies the same philosophy to a more compact package, creating a vehicle that drives more like a tall sports car than a traditional utility vehicle. But perhaps the most significant impact of the Cayenne is the way it changes perceptions of what Porsche can be. The company is no longer just a sport car manufacturer, but a full-line luxury automotive brand, capable of applying its engineering excellence to any type of vehicle. This expansion of possibilities opens new opportunities for growth and development, new ways to express the Porsche philosophy of performance and precision. The Cayenne also demonstrates that Porsche's customers are more sophisticated and open-minded than some industry observers assumed. Rather than rejecting the SUV as incompatible with Porsche's heritage, customers embrace it as an extension of that heritage, a new way to experience Porsche engineering excellence in a different context. The vehicle succeeds because it is genuinely Porsche in character, not despite its departure from traditional Porsche vehicle types, but because of how successfully it translates Porsche values to a new application. As the decade progresses, the Cayenne continues to evolve, incorporating new technologies and refinements while maintaining its essential character. Each new generation builds on the lessons learned from its predecessors, becoming more capable, more efficient, more refined, while never losing sight of the performance focus that makes it unmistakably Porsche. The success of the Cayenne also paves the way for Porsche's next bold expansion, the Panamera, a luxury sedan that will once again challenge traditional notions of what a Porsche can be. But that is a story for another chapter, another evolution in the continuing saga of a company that has never been content to rest on its achievements, that has always been driven to explore new possibilities while maintaining the excellence that has defined it from the beginning. The gentle hum of midnight traffic drifts through the windows of Porsche's design studio as the year 2009 prepares to dawn. The world outside is changing rapidly, with global economic uncertainty reshaping the automotive landscape and forcing manufacturers to reconsider their most fundamental assumptions about what customers want and need. Inside the studio, illuminated by the soft glow of design lamps, sits a car that represents Porsche's most ambitious attempt yet to expand its definition of what a sports car can be. The Panamera emerges from the shadows like an automotive sphinx, its four-door silhouette challenging every preconception about Porsche design, while somehow remaining unmistakably faithful to the aesthetic principles that have guided the company for decades. This is Porsche's entry into the luxury sedan market, a vehicle that must satisfy the practical needs of customers who require four doors and spacious accommodations while delivering the kind of performance and driving pleasure that defines the Porsche experience. The development of the Panamera represents perhaps the greatest design challenge in Porsche's history. How do you create a four-door sedan that maintains the visual connection to the 911 that is so fundamental to Porsche's identity? How do you package the space and comfort that luxury sedan buyers expect, while preserving the low, sleek proportions that communicate performance and athleticism. How do you balance tradition with innovation, heritage with progress, the demands of practicality with the requirements of beauty? The solution that emerges from months of careful iteration is audacious in its ambition and sophisticated in its execution. The Panamera's profile clearly identifies it as a member of the Porsche family, with the familiar curve of the roofline and the distinctive proportions that connect it visually to every Porsche that has come before. But the details are entirely new, incorporating the latest advances in aerodynamics and packaging efficiency to create a vehicle that is simultaneously practical and beautiful, functional and emotional. The engineering challenges are equally complex. The Panamera must be fast enough to satisfy performance enthusiasts, yet comfortable enough for long-distance luxury travel. It must handle with the precision that Porsche customers expect, yet provide the smooth, quiet ride quality that luxury sedan buyers demand. The solution comes through the application of the most advanced chassis technologies available, including active suspension systems that can adapt their characteristics in real time based on driving conditions and driver preferences. The interior of the Panamera represents a quantum leap forward in Porsche's approach to luxury and comfort. While maintaining the driver-focused philosophy that has always characterized Porsche cockpits, the Panamera provides accommodations that rival the finest luxury sedans from any manufacturer. The rear seats offer limousine-like comfort, with generous space for both passengers and luggage. The materials are the finest available, carefully selected for their beauty, durability, and contribution to the overall sensory experience of being in the car. But perhaps most importantly, the Panamera drives like a Porsche. Despite its size and luxury appointments, the car provides the kind of immediate, precise response to driver inputs that has always defined the Porsche experience. The steering is direct and communicative. The brakes are powerful and progressive, and the overall balance of the car inspires the kind of confidence that encourages spirited driving even in such a large and luxurious vehicle. The engine options reflect Porsche's commitment to providing customers with choices that match their individual needs and preferences. The base engine provides more than adequate performance for most customers, while the high-performance variants deliver supercar-level acceleration and top speed. But all of the engines share certain characteristics. They are smooth, responsive, and efficient, providing the kind of refined power delivery that luxury car buyers expect. When the Panamera makes its public debut, the reaction is intense and polarized. Some critics question whether a four-door sedan can truly be a Porsche, whether the company has compromised its essential character in pursuit of broader market appeal. Others praise Porsche for having the courage to expand its vision while maintaining its commitment to engineering excellence and driving pleasure. But the market response is unambiguous. The Panamera is an immediate success, attracting customers who have never considered a Porsche before while satisfying the expectations of traditional Porsche enthusiasts who need the practicality of four doors. The car creates a new segment in the luxury sedan market, establishing performance and handling standards that competing manufacturers struggle to match. The success of the Panamera validates Porsche's strategic vision of becoming a full-line luxury automotive brand, while maintaining its core focus on performance and driving pleasure. The sedan provides additional revenue that supports continued development of Porsche's sports cars, while the technologies developed for the Panamera find their way back into the 911 and other models, creating a virtuous cycle of innovation and improvement. Over the years following its introduction, the Panamera continues to evolve, incorporating new technologies and refinements while maintaining its essential character. The second generation, introduced in 2016, represents a significant advancement in every area: performance, efficiency, luxury, and technology. The car becomes more beautiful, more capable, more refined, while never losing sight of the performance focus that makes it unmistakably Porsche. The Panamera also serves as a platform for Porsche's exploration of advanced powertrains, including hybrid systems that combine high performance with improved efficiency. These technologies, developed and refined in the Panamera, will eventually find their way into other Porsche models, helping the company meet increasingly stringent emissions requirements while maintaining its commitment to performance. Perhaps most significantly, the Panamera demonstrates that Porsche's philosophy of engineering excellence can be successfully applied to any type of vehicle. The car proves that performance and luxury are not mutually exclusive, that practicality and emotional appeal can coexist, that tradition and innovation can work together to create something entirely new while remaining true to established principles. As the decade progresses, the Panamera establishes itself as a permanent and important part of the Porsche lineup, no longer questioned or controversial, but accepted as a natural extension of the Porsche philosophy. The car attracts customers who might otherwise choose competing luxury sedans, bringing them into the Porsche family and often leading them to consider other Porsche models for their next purchase. The success of both the Cayenne and Panamera transforms Porsche from a small, specialized sport car manufacturer into a significant player in the global luxury automotive market. The company's annual sales increased dramatically, providing the financial resources necessary to continue developing and refining its entire product lineup while maintaining the highest standards of quality and performance. But even as Porsche celebrates these successes, the company's leadership understands that the automotive industry is entering a period of unprecedented change. New technologies are emerging that will fundamentally alter how cars are powered, how they're driven, how they interact with their environment. The challenge for Porsche will be to embrace these changes while maintaining the essential character that has made the brand so special, so desirable, so deeply connected to the hearts and minds of driving enthusiasts around the world. The future will require new forms of innovation, new applications of engineering excellence, new ways to express the Porsche philosophy in a rapidly changing world. But as the gentle night air carries the sound of a Panamera accelerating through the gears somewhere in the distance, its distinctive exhaust note echoing off the buildings, it's clear that Porsche has successfully navigated this latest evolution while maintaining its soul, its passion, its uncompromising commitment to the art and science of creating extraordinary automobiles. The year 2015 arrives with the weight of transformation hanging in the air like the electric charge before a thunderstorm. Deep within Porsche's research and development facilities, something revolutionary is taking shape, something that would have seemed impossible just a few decades earlier, but now represents the inevitable future of automotive excellence. Ferdinand Porsche's great-grandson, Oliver Blume, now leads the company, and he faces a challenge that would have fascinated the original Ferdinand: how to maintain Porsche's commitment to performance and driving pleasure while embracing an entirely new form of propulsion. The automotive world is changing rapidly, driven by environmental concerns, technological advances, and shifting customer expectations. Electric vehicles, once dismissed as mere curiosities suitable only for short-distance city driving, are beginning to demonstrate performance capabilities that rival and sometimes exceed those of traditional internal combustion engines. For Porsche, a company built on the foundation of engineering excellence and driving pleasure, this represents both an enormous opportunity and a profound challenge. The project that will become the Taycan begins not with marketing requirements or regulatory mandates, but with a fundamental question that goes to the heart of what makes a Porsche special. Can electric propulsion deliver the kind of immediate, visceral, emotionally engaging driving experience that has always defined a brand? The answer to this question will determine not just the success of a single model, but the future direction of the entire company. The development process is exhaustive, meticulous, reflecting the same attention to detail that has characterized every significant Porsche project since Ferdinand first established his engineering consultancy. But this time, the challenges are entirely new. How do you create an electric vehicle that sounds like a Porsche? How do you maintain the precise throttle response that sports car drivers expect when the propulsion system operates in fundamentally different ways? How do you design a charging system that provides the convenience and reliability that Porsche customers demand? The solutions that emerge are characteristically innovative. The Taycan features a sophisticated electric drivetrain that delivers power to all four wheels with a precision and immediacy that surpasses even the finest internal combustion engines. The acceleration is devastating, propelling the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in times that would have been unimaginable for production cars just a few years earlier. But more importantly, the power delivery is perfectly linear, perfectly predictable, providing the kind of precise control that allows skilled drivers to explore the outer limits of performance with confidence. The sound design represents one of the most subtle but important aspects of the Taycan's development. While electric motors operate much more quietly than internal combustion engines, Porsche's engineers understand that sound is a crucial part of the emotional connection between driver and car. The Taycan's acoustic signature is carefully crafted, incorporating both the natural sounds of the electric drivetrain and specially designed audio elements that communicate the car's performance capabilities to both driver and bystanders. The charging technology represents another area where Porsche has applied its engineering expertise to solve practical problems. The Taycan is capable of charging at rates that seemed impossible just a few years earlier, reducing charging times to levels that make electric driving practical for long-distance travel. But the charging system is also designed to be user-friendly, with interfaces and procedures that are intuitive for customers accustomed to the simplicity of internal combustion vehicles. The interior of the Taycan reflects Porsche's vision of what a luxury electric vehicle should be. Advanced digital displays provide comprehensive information about the car's performance and energy systems, while maintaining the clean, driver-focused philosophy that has always characterized Porsche cockpits. The materials are carefully selected for their sustainability as well as their beauty, reflecting Porsche's commitment to environmental responsibility without compromising on luxury or quality. But perhaps most importantly, the Taycan drives like a Porsche. Despite the fundamental differences in its propulsion system, the car provides the kind of precise, engaging driving experience that has always defined a brand. The steering is direct and communicative. The brakes are powerful and progressive, and the overall balance of the car inspires the kind of confidence that encourages spirited driving. The electric drivetrain actually enhances some aspects of the driving experience, providing instant torque delivery and perfect weight distribution that contribute to handling characteristics that surpass those of many traditional sports cars. When the Taycan makes its public debut, the response is immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Automotive journalists praise the car's performance, its luxury appointments, and its successful translation of Porsche values to electric propulsion. But more importantly, customers respond with enthusiasm, placing orders at levels that surprise even Porsche's optimistic projections. The car attracts traditional Porsche enthusiasts who recognize that electric propulsion represents the future of high-performance driving, as well as new customers drawn to the combination of environmental responsibility and luxury performance. The success of the Taycan validates Porsche's strategic decision to embrace electric propulsion as a core technology rather than treating it as a regulatory necessity. The car demonstrates that electric vehicles can provide the kind of engaging, emotionally satisfying driving experience that has always defined Porsche, while also offering advantages in performance, efficiency, and environmental impact that will become increasingly important in the years ahead. The Taycan also serves as a technology showcase for innovations that will eventually find their way into other Porsche models. The advanced battery technology, the sophisticated charging systems, the integrated digital interfaces, all of these elements will influence the development of future Porsche vehicles, creating a new generation of cars that combine traditional Porsche values with cutting-edge technology. As production of the Taycan ramps up and the first cars reach customers around the world, Porsche begins to see the broader implications of its electric vehicle program. The car has established new performance benchmarks for luxury electric vehicles, while demonstrating that environmental responsibility and driving pleasure are not mutually exclusive. The Taycan attracts positive attention from environmental advocates, technology enthusiasts, and traditional sport car fans, creating a broader coalition of support for the Porsche brand. The years following the Taycan's introduction see Porsche expand its electric vehicle lineup, applying the lessons learned from the sedan to other body styles and price points. The company announces plans to electrify significant portions of its product range, while maintaining its commitment to internal combustion engines and applications where they remain the best solution for customer needs. But perhaps most significantly, the Taycan represents a bridge between Porsche's illustrious past and its promising future. The car demonstrates that the engineering principles established by Ferdinand Porsche nearly a century ago, precision, innovation, attention to detail, the pursuit of excellence, remain as relevant in the age of electric propulsion as they were in the era of wheel hub motors and hybrid carriages. The gentle whir of electric motors may sound different from the distinctive rumble of flat-six engines, but the emotional connection between driver and car remains as strong as ever. The Taycan proves that Porsche's soul resides not in any particular technology, but in the company's unwavering commitment to creating vehicles that enhance and celebrate the experience of driving. As the world moves toward a more sustainable automotive future, Porsche is leading the way, showing that performance, luxury, and environmental responsibility can coexist in perfect harmony. The road ahead may be different from the one Ferdinand Porsche first traveled more than a century ago, but the destination remains the same. The creation of extraordinary automobiles that connect with their drivers on both rational and emotional levels, that provide not just transportation but inspiration, that represent the very finest expression of human ingenuity applied to the art and science of motion. As the soft moonlight filters through the windows of Porsche's design studios in Weissach, casting long shadows across the clay models and computer screens where tomorrow's dreams are taking shape, we arrive at the heart of what makes Porsche truly special. It is not just the cars themselves, magnificent as they are, but the philosophy that guides their creation, the unwavering commitment to principles that have remained constant even as technology has evolved and markets have changed. This is the essence of Porsche, the soul of engineering excellence that connects every vehicle from Ferdinand's first wheel hub motor to the latest Taycan rolling off the production line. The Porsche philosophy begins with a simple but profound understanding that the greatest achievements in automotive engineering come not from following trends or copying competitors, but from the relentless pursuit of perfection in every detail, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. This pursuit is not driven by marketing considerations or cost-benefit analyses, but by a deeper belief that excellence is its own reward, that the creation of something truly beautiful and functional is a worthy goal regardless of external pressures or constraints. This commitment to excellence manifests itself in countless ways throughout every Porsche vehicle. In the precise weighting of the steering wheel, calibrated to provide exactly the right amount of feedback without becoming heavy or tiresome during long drives. In a careful selection of materials, chosen not just for their appearance, but for their tactile qualities, their durability, and their contribution to the overall sensory experience of being in the car. In the meticulous attention paid to the sound of the engine, tuned and refined until it produces not just power, but music, a mechanical symphony that stirs the soul as much as it moves the body. The design philosophy that guides Porsche's aesthetic choices is based on the understanding that true beauty emerges from the perfect marriage of form and function. Every curve, every line, every surface of a Porsche serves a purpose, contributes to the vehicle's performance or the driver's experience. There is no ornamentation for its own sake, no styling element that exists purely for visual impact. Instead, there's a purity of purpose that creates its own aesthetic appeal, a sense of rightness that transcends fashion or temporary trends. This functional beauty is evident in the timeless silhouette of the 911, a shape that has remained essentially unchanged for more than half a century, while continuously evolving to incorporate new technologies and meet changing requirements. The car's distinctive profile is not just iconic. It is optimal, the result of decades of refinement in aerodynamics, packaging, and visual proportion. The 911 looks the way it does not because designers thought it would be attractive, but because this shape represents the perfect balance of all the factors that contribute to automotive excellence. The same principles apply to every aspect of Porsche engineering, from the smallest interior detail to the most complex mechanical systems. The placement of controls is determined not by aesthetic considerations alone, but by ergonomic research that ensures optimal accessibility and usability. The selection of engines is guided not just by performance targets, but by the desire to create power plants that are responsive, reliable, and emotionally engaging. The development of chassis systems focuses not just on ultimate performance capabilities, but on creating vehicles that communicate clearly with their drivers, that inspire confidence, and encourage exploration of their limits. This holistic approach to automotive development is what distinguishes Porsche from manufacturers who may excel in individual areas but struggle to create vehicles that feel completely integrated, completely coherent in their execution. A Porsche feels like a unified whole, where every system works in perfect harmony with every other system, where the sum is greater than its parts. This integration is not accidental. It is the result of careful planning, meticulous execution, and an unwavering commitment to excellence that permeates every aspect of the development process. The testing and validation procedures that every Porsche undergoes before reaching customers reflect this same commitment to perfection. The cars are subjected to extremes of temperature, altitude, and road conditions that far exceed what most owners will ever encounter. They are driven hard on the most demanding racetracks in the world, pushed to their limits by professional drivers who understand how to reveal any weaknesses or compromises in their design. They are refined and improved through countless iterations until they meet not just the technical requirements specified by engineers, but the emotional requirements demanded by customers who expect their Porsche to provide joy and satisfaction every time they drive it. This commitment to excellence extends beyond the cars themselves to every aspect of the Porsche experience. The dealerships are designed to reflect the same attention to detail that characterizes the vehicles, creating environments that are worthy of the products they display. The customer service is provided by people who understand that they are not just selling cars, but participating in the continuation of an automotive legacy that spans nearly a century. The racing programs that continue to validate Porsche's engineering excellence serve not just as marketing tools, but as laboratories where new technologies are developed and proven under the most demanding conditions imaginable. But perhaps the most important aspect of the Porsche philosophy is its recognition that automotive excellence is not a destination, but a journey, not an achievement, but a process. Every new model, every refinement, every innovation is seen not as the culmination of the company's efforts, but as another step in an ongoing quest for perfection that will never truly be complete. This perpetual dissatisfaction with the status quo, this constant striving for improvement, is what has allowed Porsche to remain at the forefront of automotive development for decades, while many of its competitors have fallen by the wayside. The future of Porsche will undoubtedly bring new challenges, new technologies, new market conditions that will require adaptation and evolution. Electric propulsion, autonomous driving systems, connected vehicle technologies, and other innovations will change the fundamental nature of what it means to be an automobile. But the principles that guide Porsche's approach to these challenges will remain constant. The pursuit of excellence, the commitment to engineering integrity, the belief that the greatest achievements come from the perfect integration of form and function. As we prepare to enter the final chapter of our journey, to experience the dreams and visions that Porsche creates not just in metal and carbon fiber, but in the hearts and minds of those who drive these extraordinary machines, we carry with us an understanding of what makes this company truly special. It is not just the performance or the luxury or the prestige, though all of these are important. It is a recognition that in a world increasingly dominated by compromise and expedience, there are still people who believe that some things are worth doing perfectly, regardless of the cost or effort required. The gentle hum of electric motors may replace the rumble of internal combustion engines. Advanced computer systems may augment or even replace some aspects of human control, and new materials and manufacturing techniques may change the fundamental nature of how cars are built. But as long as there are people who understand that the greatest joy in life comes not from the destination, but from the journey, there will be a place in the world for automobiles that celebrate and enhance the pure pleasure of driving. And as long as there is such a place, Porsche will be there, continuing the legacy of excellence that began with a young man installing electric lights in his father's house, and continues today with engineers and designers who understand that they're not just building cars, but preserving and advancing one of humanity's greatest achievements in the marriage of art and science, of beauty and function, of dreams and reality.